Welcome to the first video of the year. Now, like many of you, I'm sure my family and I have decided to do a little bit of a sober January. Keeping in line with our commitments, we have decided to do a different version of Drinks with Darren. This time, I would love to know your thoughts on our new theme. We've settled on 3 different options: donuts with Darren, Doritos with Darren, or dumplings with Darren. Most of these aren't likely going to work. Instead, what we're gonna do today is, rather than feature a local beer or cocktail, we will go with one of my absolute favorite semi-non-alcoholic drinks, kombucha. Our video this month is all about tax assessments that you would have received in the mail in the last week or so. I'm sure that you would agree that many times a property's assessment might not necessarily reflect the actual value of your home when it is released. But if I told you that also many times after reviewing them for clients, they tend to be fairly accurate. I'm going to show you in this video where the information comes from on your tax assessments, how to determine if it's really in your interest, and lastly, how to dispute your property tax assessment if you so chose, which you have until the end of this month, January, to do so. Now, it's important to note that a property assessment done by the Provincial Assessment Authority is not the same thing as market value for your home. More importantly, the valuation date used in your assessment is actually already 6 months old or more, being done on July the 1st of 2020. There are a few key dates in the assessment process. One is that you get your assessment at the beginning of the year, January 1 typically. The second being you have until February to review your assessment and dispute it. The next date is July 1st, being the valuation date for the upcoming year, in this case for 2022. And lastly, October 31st is the date that reflects the physical condition and permitted use of the building. BC's assessment gathers its information from a ton of different sources, including site visits to the property themselves, going to city halls, the province, and even directly to the homeowner's property. They review additional items like building permits and changes to the zoning of land, the land titles office information. They watch real estate transactions, do 3D modeling, site visits, aerial and street imagery, everything. This is how they determine property values, and based on what the market value that they think your property is as of July 1st of the previous year. When determining the assessed value, their appraisers consider your property's unique characteristics, including location of your home, the view from your home, the age of your home, and things like garages, carports, decks, pools, and also comparable sales and other real estate market information. They consider that the market value assessments are widely considered the fairest system for the distribution of property taxes generally. And they even have a helpful tool on their website to help you understand how assessments influence taxes. Now, it's worth noting that getting a higher assessment doesn't necessarily increase your overall tax burden to the city. One of the biggest things that homeowners miss when they get their tax assessments and fail to consider before appealing their tax assessments with the provincial tax authority is that it's not really how much your assessed value goes up that's important, but rather how much it goes up compared to the rest of your community. Let me give you an example. My own personal tax assessment came in this year at roughly 10% higher than what I would have suspected. And for those of you that may or may not know, my family and I relocated to South Surrey into a detached home in August of last year. We actually wrote our offer in July of last year too, meaning we paid, or what we paid should largely reflect the market value at the exact same time the assessors were reviewing our soon-to-be property's taxable assessed value. Now, interestingly enough, it was not hot market at that time, but our purchase price was in line, and our assessed value came in roughly 10% higher, and is also 10% higher than the average increase for the city of Surrey. Now, in this example, the average price in our community went up 4%, whereas our own individual property went up 14%. This means there is a difference of 10% versus what the remainder of my community went up on average versus exactly what my own property did. And this is exactly how a homeowner ends up paying additional taxes. Since my property value went up faster or higher than that of the average, I now am going to be taking on a larger burden of the city's taxable requirements. And this is a perfect example of why someone would want to decide to appeal their taxes. taxes. Now, there are pros and cons, of course, to disputing your taxes that are worth discussing. As a realtor, I would suggest that having a lower assessed value of your home does affect people's perception of the value of your home if you are choosing to sell in this calendar year. There are many people who still base their opinion on values of homes based on many factors, yet one of them always seems to be the assessed value of your home. So if you are considering selling your home this year, it is worth having a higher assessed value, in my opinion. Now, on the flip side of that, for someone like me who just bought their home or has no plans of leaving their home in the near future, a lower assessed value is a large benefit, or can be a large benefit. This means I will be saving money on my taxes to the city if I can effectively lower my assessed value and bring it more in line with what the average home in my community has done. Every year for our clients, they get a notice in the mail from us, and this year was no different, where if you have any concerns on the numbers on your assessment, we are prepared to help. We are here to help provide you with an estimation of the accuracy of your assessment and provide you with the information to help support you if you wanted to contest your assessed value with the province, and generally be a resource for you at this time. We also make the offer out to your friends or family or anybody you care about. There is no doubt the market is busy right now. However, the business of the market currently should not reflect your taxable value that was determined as of July 1st of 2020. So pay careful attention to this to ensure that your property and its assessed value is accurately reflected. Now, with all that being said about tax assessments, let's get into the market statistics for the first month of January 2021. Starting, as we usually do with apartments, we're going to mix things up a little bit this month, and we start with the biggest gainers in the marketplace. Now, if you've been following the news, in the last 3 months, you know that that is detached homes. In the last 3 months, we've seen them absolutely explode in the Fraser Valley, going up a whopping 4.53% in the last 3 months, and in the last year, 13.3%. Who could have guessed just 2 months before we even knew this pandemic was coming and it really got serious that we would see this type of growth going on in the real estate market? Now that takes us over to townhomes, where we saw the value raise about 1.56% in the last 3 months, and over the year, just the shy of 7% at 6.93, which then brings us to condominiums. Once again, a laggard in growth in the last 3 months compared to the other two. In the last 3 months, we've seen the values increase a modest 0.33%, and over the last year, a healthy 4.72% increase. Interestingly enough, I am getting calls from many of you that are suggesting that you plan to make a move in the next year. With the detached market being as busy as it is, I do expect this marketplace to start taking on the characteristics of what happened back in the 2015 to 2017 markets not too long ago. We are seeing incredible growth in the pricing of detached homes currently. Now, back in 2016 in that marketplace, that growth eventually ended up pulling townhomes along with it for the ride, which then eventually pulled condominiums with it as well, where we started seeing incredible value growth in all three product types. This is helpful to know for many reasons, yet the biggest reason is that if you have been considering an upgrade, maybe your family is going to move into a bigger space in a new location, or you're going to take on a higher mortgage with a more attractive property for your needs, my estimation is that you will find prices much higher towards the end of this year for all three product types rather than where they are currently. The nature of the mortgage market, along with the fact that immigration is largely turned off in our country and we are coming out of a global pandemic with lots of optimism about vaccinations and getting life back to normal in the short to medium term future, there is not a lot of evidence that this activity is going to stop in the near term. For those of you that are considering upgrading your property, you will want to consider what happened to many in the 2015 to 2017 market, where the idea of what a new home might cost for a particular type of product at that time was regrettably replaced with concessions, because the growth of the value of properties generally, for someone who thought a detached home at that time was comfortably affordable at, let's say, $800,000, soon found themselves spending upwards of $900,000 to $950,000 to get the same property just 12 months later. Now, the detached home market has seen the most activity and the most growth as per the stats we just reviewed. Yet if we follow similar trends to what we did in 2015 to 2017 markets, we are already starting to see a very busy activity for townhomes. And I do foresee, again, all three product types going through a similar trend and experiencing similar growth. For those of you, this means that if you're looking at upgrading, you want to pay attention and you want to start mobilizing your plans. Now, this also means that if you have friends or family, if you yourself have been thinking of investing or getting into the market because you're a first-time buyer, you want to seriously consider making your move sooner than later. We are taking individual appointments currently, and as always, if you're curious and want to know what your real estate plans might be for the future or in this upcoming year, we've included a link down below to this video to a complimentary consultation, nice and casual, where you can really just pick our brain. Let us know about your real estate goals and plans for this year, if you have any at all, and we will provide you with the data and advice to help you make a good decision for your plans. I want to thank you for joining me on the first edition of 2021's Drinks, Doritos, Dumplings, whatever with Darren. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hope you're staying safe, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.